Hi, I'm Erica Reed, and thank you for joining me on this week's video. This week we are talking about self-sabotage and how to get out of your own way. So I'll start by asking you a question. Have you ever been in a situation where you need to do, and you know you need to do, one, two, and three, but when it came down to it, push came to shove, you actually ended up doing A, B, and C? Now, you may not have been aware of the fact of why you were doing something different, something other than what you knew was in your best interest, or something other than what was going to get you your desired result. But what that basically is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is when you do something that you know is against your best interest. It goes against what you know is important to you. You know that shoulda, coulda, woulda ends up being self-sabotage. Let me paint a picture for you. Let's say there is something that you really want, but deep down inside, you don't feel you're going to get it. You don't feel like you're good enough to get it. You don't feel like you'll be able to achieve it. So you start backtracking, talking yourself out of it, telling yourself it's really not that important to me. I really don't want it that bad. It's not that big a deal. So when it comes time for you to put forth the effort or take the steps to actually go get it, you kind of half step. Give a little bit of effort, not really putting forth all that you can to achieve that goal. And then guess what? You don't get it. What do you start to tell yourself then? Oh, I knew I wasn't going to get it. I didn't really want it. It's not that big a deal. You have effectively sabotaged yourself from getting something that you really, really want. And then that reinforces the message you're telling yourself. I'm not able to get what I want. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to get ahead in life. And it starts this vicious cycle that gets dangerous because then you get stuck and you don't get the life that you want. You don't get what you want in life. So today we're going to talk about self-sabotage and how to get out of your own way so you don't stay stuck right where you are, but you're able to go to that next level in life. So let's talk a little bit about what that may look like for you. A lot of times when we self-sabotage, we tend to have it come out looking like procrastination. You know you should do it. You know all the things that come involved or are involved with doing it. You probably even have it written down somewhere, but you procrastinate. You don't get onto it. You don't go about effectively and efficiently working towards achieving your goals. You keep putting it off, and maybe you wait till the last minute. You procrastinate. And oftentimes, when we procrastinate about doing something, we do it, but it's not to the best of our ability. Or maybe we stressed ourselves out so much just to reach that end goal because we waited to the last minute. We're not really able to achieve that feeling of fulfillment, of peace, of excitement over having achieved the goal or completed that task. So we've taken away our enjoyment and we've sabotaged anything we may have experienced from it. Another way of self-sabotage is excessively or worrying a lot about something. You like have all the worst case scenarios in your mind. You start thinking about, well, if this happens, then this is what I'm gonna do. Or this is probably what's going to end up happening. And you have like a fortune telling kind of perspective. You have a crystal ball and you start seeing all the things that can go wrong. So you've already set yourself up with the expectation it's not going to go your way. So to a certain extent, you're sabotaging yourself because you're not allowing yourself to achieve it all, to receive it all, and to put forth all of your effort towards getting it. Now, another way that self-sabotage comes into play is with comparison. If I look at you and I compare myself to where you are in life, to what I see you doing, there's a high possibility I'm going to find myself lacking. Because if I'm already in a position of comparison, I'm already questioning how I'm feeling about myself and what I feel I'm capable of. So comparison is a huge way that we sabotage ourselves because we've already told ourselves, well, we're less than. I'm not good enough. Oh, I don't have it together the way that she does. I can't do it one, two, and three the way that she does it. So we've already started working on sabotaging ourselves. So, this is what it looks like, but why? Why do we do it? Why do we self-sabotage, especially women? Why do we do it? So, a lot of times it's really about control. If you don't necessarily trust that things are going to turn out the way you want, it's easier and you feel like you have more control over, well, I'm just not going to do it, because then you won't feel like you put yourself out there, been unprepared for the negative impact, the negative ramifications of it, and it won't hurt as bad. So if I don't want it as much, it's really not going to bother me. It's not going to hurt as bad if I don't get it. It's a self protective measure. It's a way of trying to help you feel more in control of disappointments. You can handle disappointments better. So it doesn't like knock you down as hard, but it also keeps you stuck. It keeps you from going forward. Now, another way and another reason that we self sabotage is because change is hard. Change is hard. Sometimes you may know that where you are is not where you want to be. And sometimes you have a clear vision of where you want to go and what you want. But that requires change. And change is uncomfortable. Change is difficult. Change is hard. So sometimes it just feels safer and it's easier to stay right where you are. And that means that you're not putting forth all the effort, you're not doing all the steps, you're not working as diligently as you could to get what you want, because it's easier just to stay where you are. So we've talked about what it looks like. We've talked about why we do it. Now let's talk about how to break out of it, how basically to get unstuck. And it boils down to self-awareness. Self-awareness as far as monitoring what you're saying about your abilities, what you're saying about what you expect the outcome to be. How much are you projecting a belief out there that you can get it, that you can do it, or are you already telling everybody, it's not that big a deal. I'm just going over here just to say that I did it. Or you're already telling people, well, I'm expecting it to turn out in a negative, so don't plan a party. We're not celebrating. Or maybe it's your beliefs. It's what you believe to be true. Maybe you're not actually saying it, but you're thinking it. You've already set yourself down and said, now don't be disappointed when they don't call your name. If you're already telling yourself these things, then you are sabotaging it. And we need to really work on that self awareness so that you're monitoring what you're saying and what you're thinking. That also comes into play as to what people say to you. Having an awareness of what you're allowing the people in your life to speak into you. What type of words are they using to support you or to push you down? And having an awareness that the people in your environment can actually be helping you to stay stuck. And that may be something to consider when you're sharing your goals, your aspirations with people. Picking and choosing who you're going to tell, because everything ain't for everybody. So you have to be selective in who you're sharing your goals with, and only choosing people that will help push you forward and support you, as opposed to giving you all the reasons something's not going to go right. So I have for you action steps. What are the action steps to really get what you want, to get unstuck, to move yourself forward, and to minimize self-sabotage so you can get out of your own way? Now, the first thing I want you to do is to identify one goal. Now, I know you probably have many goals, and that's actually a really great thing. But for the sake of this activity, just identify one goal, because I don't want you to become overwhelmed. So after you've identified that goal, identify why you want it. Why do you want to achieve that goal? What would it feel like when you achieve it, when you get it, when you reach that point? How will you feel? What will your life look like? What will be different? What new activities will you be engaging in? What new opportunities will be presented to you? So focus on your why of why you want to achieve this goal. That's number two. Number three is identify what your fears are that are associated with that goal. What are you feeling when you think about all the stuff that is involved with this goal, about achieving it, about putting forth the effort? What are your fears? Are you afraid that you're going to fail? Or maybe you're even afraid that you'll be successful with it? Because yes, fear of success is a huge way to keep us stuck. We may be afraid of all that comes with that goal, the additional responsibilities, the expectations. Maybe it's the time commitment that is involved with achieving that goal. So, yes, fear of success is a very real thing. Just as fear of failure will keep you from stretching out to reach that goal. So, after you identify your goal, you focus on your why, you identify your fears. Now it's time for you to come up with a plan. What is your plan to achieve that goal? And you want to do it step by step, even giving yourself some time frames as to when you want to achieve these individual short-term goals so that you can reach that long-term goal. So after you identify that plan, then you want to identify any barriers or obstacles. What are some things that may interfere or create additional problems? For example, if you have a goal to go back to school and you've set your plan, you've identified your fears, you know your why, one of the obstacles may be, well, what do I do with my kids? That may be a barrier. So now, as opposed to getting into it and then getting stuck because you didn't plan for this barrier, now you know in advance, okay, well, I need to figure this part out. I need a plan. I need a backup plan for childcare so that this doesn't get in the way of me achieving my goal. After you've done all that, the last thing I want you to do is come back to your why. Always come back to your why because that's your motivation. That's what's going to keep you going forward. When you focus on your why, you're going to get out of your own way. You're not going to want to sabotage yourself because your why is what's going to drive you. So I thank you so much for joining me as we talked about self-sabotage because you can get all that you want in life if you get out of your own way. You want to make sure that you're working through these steps and continuing to believe in yourself, to place a high level of value on yourself, and then working towards getting what you want. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.